Trevor Sinclair might have been born in London, but he's an absolute true blue Mancunian and a City fan. He played for the club during that first season at the new stadium, now the Etihad Stadium, the City of Manchester Stadium back then. He carried on playing after that, but he also had the pleasure and the honour of scoring the first goal, whichever way you look at it, at the new stadium. This is me talking to him just recently about his life and certainly his time at City. You're a blue, I know that. So to play for City was your dream, really. I know that you're revered by fans at lots of clubs, actually, not just City. But was City your most special time of your career, would you say?
It was my most difficult, and I am a blue. It was my most difficult, and probably for lots of different reasons. One of them being there was a lot of water under the bridge for me in my career. By that stage, I'd played a lot of games. I'd had quite a lot of injuries and operations. In an ideal world, when Peter Reid came in for me, I would have thought it'd be 90, 91, 92. I would have made the move then, and I think City would have seen the best of me. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. I ended up going to QPR. I've been 5 years there and 5 years at West Ham, and I feel I probably had my best years in London, which is it's a shame because, you know, coming to my boyhood club, new stadium, manager just promoted, everything was positive, and I started quite well, and then my injuries kind of caught up with me, and it was a difficult time in my career, but I just feel blessed to have had the opportunity to put the blue shirt on, to score in a derby on a couple of occasions, and in a way, you know, I feel I've played my part as a player in the journey that City have had over the last 10, 15 years, because we sustained Premier League status. So even though we weren't winning trophies, I think if we would have got relegated while I was there, possibly the club wouldn't have got bought by Sheikh Mansour. So I think we played our part, but the way the club is now, it's a completely different animal. You know, it's an elite club. It's one of the giant clubs. And I heard Pep, you know, a few sound bites from Pep's interview saying that Barcelona, Real Madrid, you know, Bayern Munich, their reign at the top now is under threat because, you know, you've seen what RB Leipzig did, getting to the semi-final. Obviously, PSG as well. It's quite a newly formed team to join that elite, them elite clubs. And obviously, Manchester City are well on the way as well. So the status quo has surely been broken for me, and you know, I'm all for that because we don't want to see the same teams at the top all the time having the power, getting more money than everybody else. We want it to be as equal as possible, and whoever gets the best coaches and the best players goes on to win trophies. And I think it's becoming much more competitive.
You can lay claim, I think, to being the man who set City on the way because you scored the very first goal at the City of Manchester Stadium, didn't you?
I did. Which one? Because we had the curtain raiser, didn't we, against Barcelona?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I read an article. I'm not sure whether it was your article, Ian, but it was about that game and how the City fans, because Ronaldinho had turned down Manchester United, all the City fans were cheering him, which was quite a nice antidote to a story. But yeah, I scored in that game, which was a friendly, but it was a high-profile friendly. And then obviously in the first game in I think it was the UEFA qualifiers.
TNS.
UEFA Cup. So yeah, I scored the first goal. Yeah, the mighty TNS.
So as a blue, you know, I mean, you're a professional footballer, and professional footballers have this brilliant way of ignoring really what their boyhood dreams were and just playing for their team. And there are lots of famous players who played for a team that wasn't necessarily their boyhood team, but you did do it. Did it when you ran out the first time in a sky blue shirt? How did it feel? Did it feel different to you?
Yeah, it felt emotional. I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie. I had a fantastic time and I had an amazing rapport with the West Ham fans. And, we'd just been relegated, I think 42 points. I was devastated. It was off the back of the World Cup year. So the following season after the World Cup, we got relegated that year. I didn't start well, although finished the season quite well. I think I got 8 Premier League goals. And I was quite happy with my own performance, but I felt like I owed the club because, you know, we had some talented players. You know, you think about some of the players we had, Di Canio and Joe Cole, Michael Carrick. There's an array of talent there. Jermaine Defoe put a transfer request in the next day, wasn't the wisest. But, yeah, I felt like I owed West Ham. And I was going to stay, and I think because of the finances at the football club, they were probably looking to offset a couple of the higher earners, which I was at that time. It took me long enough to get to them kind of wages. And it was probably only Manchester City that I would have went to. And when I knew Kevin Keegan was involved, and he got in touch and said, I'm really keen. Stuart Pearce had said favourable things about me. I think I'd built up a good reputation in the game as being someone who doesn't miss a lot of games, gives everything, even if he's not playing so well. And it was an opportunity that I didn't want to turn down. And it was a dream really. And obviously getting back to the Northwest, I'm a northern lad. My wife's from the Northwest as well. It was a perfect time for me to come back home. And it was a blessing for me. And I feel very privileged to have played for Manchester City.
I get the feeling, I wasn't in the dressing room with you, that you were a bit of a joker, a bit of a lad who likes a laugh. So can you tell us a story behind the scenes that you remember that made you laugh? Or maybe you made them laugh?
There was loads back in the day because we had a few characters, and the media intrusion or magnifying glass that's on the players now wasn't on us then, and we had a little bit more time where we could let our hair down, and we did. And
you had more hair back then, didn't you?
Well, slightly, because I was losing it then. But we had a great team spirit, and Paul Boswell was one of the big jokers in the group.
I've heard some stories about Paul Boswell. Actually,
I'm not surprised. He was a lively character. But yeah, we had a great team spirit, and even though we weren't picking up trophies, we still knew the fabric of the football club. It was a family club. It was a lot of the fans were very loyal, even though we weren't winning things. And we're at the time they'd just come from, I think it was League Two, so I was kind of joining a group of players that are already bonded. I remember actually when I joined the club, and Kevin said, "Listen, do you want the number 7 shirt?" And I said, "Well, who's got it?" And he said, "Huckabee, but I don't think he's going to be part of our future." And I said, "I don't want to be coming in and upsetting the group and taking a shirt just for me. I'm not that selfish. I've always been a team player." So I said, "No, leave that with him. It's his shirt. He's earned the right, and I don't want to start, making enemies before he even starts." So I left that, and I took the 28 shirt, the 18 shirt, I think. And but that was me. I weren't coming in there. Although people might have thought I was coming in there with a big reputation, I was a team player, and I think if you ask anyone that was with me at West Ham, they'd say that about me. Even though I was probably known for scoring spectacular goals, I was a hard-working player, and I was very much for the team, not about myself.
Have you ever told Darren Huckabee that story?
No, I've never told that story before, to be honest, Ian. So it's something that just come to mind then when you said about when I joined the club. So, but listen, we know the story of that group that went from League Two, the Gillingham game, and all the rest of it, Paul Dickoff and everything. So I was coming into a group that I'd already formed a friendship, and I was, we were trying to recruit. Robbie Fowler came, Steve McManaman, myself, Anelka. We were having a big push to try and improve the playing quality. And although it weren't, the players that we see now for Manchester City, it was the part of that stepping stone to becoming what they are now.
Nicholas Anelka was a player I loved watching. What was he like to play with? Because obviously he had this reputation of being a sulker and too quiet and everything. I got the feeling he was just a modest guy, actually, but you put me right.
No, Nicholas was a great lad. I really liked him. He was a cool customer. So laid back, worked hard in training, loved scoring goals as his record suggested. And there's actually a documentary about him on Netflix at the moment. I've not watched it yet, but I've heard good things about it. And he was misunderstood because he didn't buy into that kind of celebrity footballer and want to do all the different gigs. And, he just wanted to play football and have a bit of privacy away from the game. And I respect that. And, you look at other great players from slightly before his generation, they might have crossed over, but like a Paul Scholes, he never wanted the limelight. He wanted to go out there, be the best player on the pitch, and then go home to his family. And I think Nicholas was very much like that, but he was misunderstood, and there was a few things that went on in France that probably didn't help him.
Was there anybody, you might not want to admit this, who you didn't get on with?
I got on with everyone. There was a couple of occasions, I think, as you get older, you get a little bit grumpier, and it's sometimes more difficult to brush them off. So there was a couple of situations, but in general, listen, I'm a laid-back guy, and I get on with everyone. Not to say that I'd be out socialising with everyone, but there was a good cohesion in the group and within the squad. And we were all fighting for the right thing. And you look at players like Joey Barton, who's gone on to be a manager. He's had a lot of different situations in his life, high and low. But he was a character. He was a young player at the time, someone that I always had a lot of time for, and who still keep in touch with now, and as I do with quite a few of the boys. So
it doesn't surprise me that you're making a career for yourself now in the media, because you're a person who seems to genuinely love football. You've got a smile on your face most of the time. It's a way of keeping in the game, really, isn't it?
It is, and there's been a few situations. I started doing a bit of coaching when my sons were young, out in Dubai. I moved to Dubai when my career ended. I started doing a bit of coaching and realised I really enjoyed football. Because sometimes when you're in it as a business and it's your job and it's your profession, you can lose sight of that. And once I stepped away, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed teaching it as a mentor, as a coach. And I've set up an academy, Pro Direct Academy, with another former pro, Jamie Milligan, and it's gone really well. And that gives me my realism. It gives me it's my fix for coaching. And then obviously for me, it feels like you're still analysing top players. You're still going to games, so you've got your finger on the pulse. And I have been suggested a couple of times, should I go for this job, should I go for that job? And I just feel like I've got the balance right at the minute. I'm enjoying the media side of it. TalkSport have been very, very generous with me and given me lots of opportunities, which I appreciate. Manchester City have given me lots of opportunities where I've built up a rapport with the club from a journalistic point of view. So I've got good relations there. And I do my coaching every day. Players that have been released, so I feel like I'm playing my part in helping lads and girls that might have had disappointments, and helping them get back on the feet, teaching them the good fundamentals, and hopefully, some of them will go back into the game as they have and become pro again. So yeah, that's really rewarding. The balance is right. I'm around the family, and they're all growing and driving and getting jobs and graduating. So yeah, things in the Sinclair household are pretty calm and good at the moment.
Good. And all the experiences you've had in life make you better at what you do now, aren't they? I mean, you've got ups and downs like we all have.
Yeah, I think so, Ian. And obviously, when you're in the public eye, the downs are very public, and that is difficult. But not so much for me, because I've from when I was 14 and when I went to the Bobby Robson School of Excellence, I've always had a little bit of a eye on me from the media, from the press, from football clubs, from scouts. So I'm used to that. But actually, it's your family that I'm more concerned with. And, if I can do things better in the future so they don't have to deal with the upset, that's what I'm striving to do. And then hopefully, they'll learn from my mistakes and we'll have a little bit less drama in their lives.
Keep doing what you're doing, because you're representing City, because you're a blue in the media, and we want more blues in the media. Yeah. So keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. And on behalf of all the City fans who are watching thank you for your time at City and for just being who you are. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I loved it there. And hopefully I can be involved a little bit more in the future.
My thanks to HotClick Marketing for their support of this video. They are, of course, specialists in online marketing. Thanks very much to charleslouis.co.uk, who are chartered mortgage advisors. All the info is on the graphic. If you want to contact them, I'm sure they'll be delighted to help.